Sprint cars are going to race in Adelaide City. In this video, we're going to talk about all of the available information. Let's go. Before we get into it, I can see that a lot of you aren't subscribed to the Sprint Car Hub YouTube channel. We've got millions of views on YouTube, and I can see that 78.9% of you are not subscribed. So please click the subscribe button down below. And also, if you haven't got your Sprint Car Hub merchandise, we've got t-shirts and hats, make sure to head over to sprintcarhub.com and grab yours. It really does help support what we're doing. All right, so let's get into this whole Adelaide thing, okay? I've got as much info as anyone on this. I'm gonna go through all the info, everything I do know, and then I'm gonna talk about my thoughts, what I like, maybe don't like, concerns, and obviously ask you guys questions at the end as well. I've got as many details as possible, but it's very much in its infancy, okay? First of all, what is happening? Sprint cars will be competing during the Adelaide 500 event on a temporary dirt track built specifically for the event. So you're probably asking, what is the Adelaide 500? The Adelaide 500 is a supercars event held on a street circuit in the city of Adelaide in South Australia. The original circuit also hosted Formula One. So who is organising this event? The entire event is run by the South Australian Motorsport Board and the Adelaide 500. They are the promoters, from my understanding, of the event. So this isn't a new event at all, but more so that the South Australian Motorsport Board and the Adelaide 500 promoters decided to include sprint cars in their annual event. They saw sprint cars and thought, this is awesome, let's include it in our overall package, right? They also do music acts and obviously supercars, supercross, they're doing stadium super trucks, all other sort of motorsport focused events happening at the event. A few other people that are involved in this. There are more people involved in this though to make it happen. Obviously there's Speedway Australia. I know Darren Tyndall, the CEO, was at the launch for the Adelaide 500 just yesterday. Liz Weaver, who works for Speedway Australia, she focuses on the safety sort of side of things. So when you have a lot of questions about pit gates, concrete walls and fencing and panelling, we'll get into that a little bit later. Ian Cartledge, who's involved with sprint car racing down south, he is involved as well, which is great to see. He's involved with the format and the race operations side of things. Gavin Migro and Mikey Rimmer, both from the Perth Motorplex. Gavin's a promoter. Mikey, the track curator there, I know he's involved. There's a couple other people involved in the sort of the track side of things as well. And Nathan Kaiser. Now, a lot of people in Speedway might not know of Nathan, but Nathan will be probably best known through Brody Kostecki. You've seen when Brody's on TV, especially with the supercar stuff, even in our own videos, when we hung out with Brody Kostecki, we saw Nathan in the background there. So he's a big reason why this is happening at all. When is it? Okay, the 2024 event will be run from Thursday 14th of November to Sunday 17th of November. Sprint cars will race though only on the Thursday and Friday night. So Thursday the 14th and Friday the 15th. At night. Why is this happening? Okay, so like I said before, the South Australian Motorsport Board want to host the best forms of motorsport and entertainment at the Adelaide event, and they see sprint cars as a great draw card. Fantastic, right? Next up, who will be racing? Okay, so we know already that it's an invitational only, and there will be 36 cars in the format. We'll talk about the format just a little bit later, but I'm hearing there's possibly a handful of American drivers. I think could be somewhere between 5 and 10, depending on who gets picked out to race at this event. I think it's pretty easy to pick the majority of drivers and teams who will be chosen to compete in the event. I know James McFadden's already been confirmed. That was announced at the launch. And then also Jock Goodyear. I mean, he hasn't technically been confirmed, but he was involved at the launch. And as you saw on Sprint Car Hub, is the top-rated driver this past season. It's a kind of a given that at least those two will be there. I do know, though, that an expressions of interest letter will be sent from promoters to the state member clubs, or SMCs, via email, just like you would see with the Australian title or a lot of other events. Now, the format, what I do have on that is that it is pretty much locked in, but the final version will be released soon. I think that's going to be all part of what is in the expressions of interest, and also included in that is my next topic, which is prize money. That hasn't been confirmed yet. It is expected to be one of if not the largest pay packet Australian sprint car racing has ever seen, at least for the winner. One thing I do like though, when you see this all launch, like there's so much hype about it, but the prize money isn't prioritized. You don't really see that in sprint car racing. It's usually 100 grand to win or 50 grand to win. Oh, we should make a big deal about it. But I love that this event so far, its prize money isn't really the prestige about it, which is great. It needs to be high, and I think that's going to be key for a lot of the drivers and teams wanting to be there, along with the track layout, whether you want to compete or not. But I think it's nice to see that prize money isn't prioritized as far as promoting this event, right? TV and streaming coverage. Now, I did speak about it on our live video with Jock Goodyear, but the event is expected to be covered live by Channel 7, most probably via their 7 Plus streaming platform. Possibly, I'm hearing that possibly on 7 Mate Live, which will be fantastic. You can turn on your TV and sprint car racing is going to be live on that. That'll be awesome. And who knows, maybe I'll even be part of it down the track like I was with the Australian Sprint Car Championship. A little bit more, if you're not aware about South Australian Speedway, there are a bunch of tracks in South Australia that can host sprint cars. I've always spoken highly about the opportunity that is there for South Australia to have this real hub for sprint car racing. First of all, I know a lot of people brought up Speedway City. With this announcement, Speedway City is the name of the track that is now defunct. It's in Virginia, about half an hour away. It's closed. A lot of people thought, why wasn't this money spent on Speedway City and getting Speedway City up and running? That way we have a physical permanent track that's going to stay there, and we can run a lot of other classes and events. This has nothing to do with anything else other than the Adelaide 500 and these basically new promoters of Speedway wanting to host an event, right? Also, a couple of other tracks a few tracks that are close by. You've got Murray Bridge, which is home of the Masters. That's their big event. That's only 1 hour away, right near the Bend Motorsport Park. That is a beautiful venue. They should get a Speedway as well. That would be cool, right? Bordertown, which has just been revamped, that's a 3-hour drive away. Mount Gambier, it's a lot further away down south. Seating for this makeshift track, it's expected to hold about 8,000 people total. So I'm not sure if that's actual seating or standing, but I think the venue is going to hold about 8,000 people, which isn't a lot when you compare it to, say, the 40,000+ people that will be at the Adelaide 500 event, right? Ticketing, I know a bunch of you asked about this when I was doing my live video with Jock. There will be tickets specifically for the Speedway, and there will also be all the way through to 4-day passes, which include absolutely everything. There's going to be supercars, concerts, Supercross, Stadium Super Trucks, all these other events, and obviously Speedway. You can get a 4-day pass to be there for absolutely everything, but there's also going to be tickets that are specifically for the 2-night Thursday and Friday Speedway events, okay? Track details. Now, I do know, like I said before, Mikey Rimmer, the track curator at the Perth Motorplex, he's worked at Knoxville, he's worked at Darwin's Northline Speedway. He helped save the Classic the last couple of years, and he's worked there. He's a really switched on dude. They've got the best people involved in this event, I can tell you that much. They do have another renowned track builder in there as well, I'm told. As far as where the track is actually going to be located, it's somewhere within the circuit. I think it's kind of obvious where it's kind of going to go, but exactly, I don't even know if that's been sorted out exactly just yet. The Speedway will be known as Napa Speedway, after Napa joined as the naming rights sponsor of at least the Speedway, I guess. I'm told that the pole line will be about 355 meters, the fence being about 385 meters around and 15 meters wide, similar to Murray Bridge. So it's not going to be a huge track, but as Australia is known for those bull ring type tracks, I think it's going to produce great racing, and I'm not 100% sure on the banking just yet. Maybe that hasn't even been sorted out yet, I'm not too sure. All right, time for my thoughts on all of this. I truly think this has potential to be the biggest Australian sprint car event since the Outlaws Down Under in 2004, when all of the World of Outlaw drivers came over for that. I think this is going to be absolutely huge for it to be in front of a live audience, like in person, of potentially 40,000+ people who are trying to cram in to hopefully go to the Speedway is fantastic. Like I said, only 8,000 are actually going to fit inside the Speedway venue. I truly think this is a fantastic way to help South Australian sprint car racing. for lack of a better term, I feel like it's a tiny bit lost in direction and really needs a boost. And like I said, I truly, genuinely think it's got a lot of potential to really be a hub for Australian sprint car racing. And I think that this event is going to help with the return of a metropolitan track. Let's not forget as well that the Adelaide 500 event actually finished, the supercars event, and then it was revived by the new South Australian government that ended up getting voted in not long after. So it's a great opportunity for them who love motorsport to see sprint car racing and speedway in general and think, hey, this is fantastic. Let's invest in this, maybe beyond this one-off Adelaide 500 event, right? And again, like I spoke about in the live video, 8,000 people may not cover the costs of building this makeshift track, but with a TV audience, if that's prioritized, I really think that can do wonders for the sport, right? So there's going to be a lot of people at the Supercars event, a lot of people, 8,000 people going to the Speedway. I'm sure it'll be packed out, it'll be sold out. I would stay on top of tickets if I were you, but I think also that having TV prioritized is going to be really crucial for this event to not only grow the sport, but be financially viable and successful overall. It's so cool to see that tens of thousands of supercars fans are going to be introduced to Speedway as well. I love that it's an invitational. You're going to see the best of the best. One thing I love about sprint car racing is that anyone can turn up, right? But at the same time, as far as the schedule and also the track curation portion of the event, limiting how many cars there are is going to be perfect. 36 cars is perfect for the track and perfect for the event schedule, perfect for the event to run on time. I love that the right people are involved as well. Gavin Migro, fantastic promoter in Speedway, one of the best in Australian Speedway. Mikey Rimmer, I think he's not even 30. He's a really, really good track curator, and it's great to have someone like him that is so invested in track prep. Speedway Australia is involved as well, and I think there's going to be a little bit of an emphasis on growing the sport, not just sprint car racing, right? Everyone who follows Sprint Car Hub knows I like talking just about sprint cars, but it's really vital that this sport grows as a whole, right? I think we can all accept that. The time of year, awesome. Now, there's no real major events on the Australian Sprint Car calendar that are held in November, and that's with all due respect of any track that runs events in November. And I think you'll find that tracks will make sure, as far as sprint car racing goes, they will make sure that that weekend is left open to ensure as much energy is put into this Adelaide event. I also like that it's not too hot. Summer is a couple of weeks after this event is held, so it's probably going to be a perfect time of the year. And it sounds like there's going to be some money on the line, which is fantastic as well for both teams and drivers. Overall, I think this is really going to grow the sport. What concerns do I have? Okay, so first of all, weather. Like, rain could ruin the entire thing. I hate to say that. I know some people probably won't like me saying that, but I mean, that's just a fact of the sport, right? That we are susceptible to rain, okay? My other concern, the track. Again, I have full confidence that the best job possible will be done. Like I said before, with our Australian style of small bullring style tracks, I don't think it needs a lot of banking, but at the same time, we want enough banking where cars aren't just running around the bottom and it's not the ideal showing for sprint car racing, right? Number 3 of my concerns is, I guess, who's going to race at the event. I really feel like no matter what, it's going to be an awesome field, right? But it's going to be really difficult to find this balance of, say, established stars, young talent, location, age, maybe gender. Who's going to race this event? What teams are going to show up? We know a lot of teams just chime in for the major events. Do they deserve to get a spot? Who's professional? What appears well for the sport? We want it to present well for everyone who's viewing the event, whether they're in person or watching at home on TV, right? And also with Americans possibly coming over, how many spots will they take up? What cars will they drive? Will they take rides from other teams? Who knows what's going to happen there? And the only other concern I've got really is that it's not really my concern. It's a lot of people within the industry who probably weren't as well informed. But why wasn't the money spent on a permanent track? And like I've already explained, it's really got nothing to do with any other permanent track. It's probably just more of a coincidence that this event is only half an hour away from the closed Speedway City, which is just sitting there rotting, basically. Overall, I don't know how this can be seen as a negative thing at all. I'm super excited and I hope you guys are too. Please leave your questions and comments down below in this YouTube video because I will read them and reply to as many as possible. I hope you guys enjoy this sort of content. I want to keep you guys up to date with this sort of stuff because it's super exciting. Trust me, there won't be a better place to go than Sprint Car Hub, especially for this event and all the news associated with it. So please stay up to date. And like I said, make sure to subscribe. Click the button down below if you haven't already. And also check out sprintcarhub.com to grab your merchandise.